Hello, Melissa Wick here. Welcome or welcome back. Today's yoga class is designed to work towards a peak pose, and our peak pose today is Natarajasana in Sanskrit, or as we may classically know as dancer's pose. So we'll be working towards that shape, opening up the different parts of the body that'll be needed to help us feel good in that shape. So we'll be committed yet not attached to any of the results. So take it at your own pace, come into something comfortable, and let's get started. We are going to begin in a heart opening shape. So if you have 2 blocks, we're going to use those 2 blocks. Now don't fret if you don't have 2 blocks. You can find a blanket or a towel, and then we can roll it up. So we're going to put this behind the back of our heart. So being mindful, the more thick you make your roll, the more intense the heart opening is going to be. You'll take your blanket or towel towards the back of your mat, leave enough space to put your shoulder blades and your head on the other side. So you'll keep your sit bones down, line it up, and then find that sweet spot here. Arms can come into a cactus or a T. You can bring the soles of the feet together here, or just lengthen them out long. Option 1, if you want to go that route. Option 2, taking your 2 blocks. Take 1 block on the highest setting to the back of your mat. Take the next block, maybe the second setting. Bring it maybe 2 fists lengthwise in front of that behind block there, vertically. Your sit bones stay down onto the mat, and then you'll roll yourself down, and then have your shoulder blades peel on either side of the block. Take your hands and find the block behind, and then find a comfortable spot here for your head to rest. So you can play around, open up the chest here, squeeze the shoulder blades in a little closer. Your arms can come down to the ground, flip the palms up. You can bring the soles of the feet to touch. You can extend the legs out long here. And then once you start to find your comfortable space here, we'll take 3 collective breaths to arrive together. So breathe in through your nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Again, breathe in. Let it go. Last one like that. Exhale it all out. And then we'll gently close the lips. Let your eyeballs rest here in their sockets. Return to your natural rhythm of breath. And just start to settle into your space, into your body, and into your breath. Starting to feel this gentle opening in your chest, in your heart center. And here, let the awareness of your breath take over anything that may be distracting you. So bring your attention to that natural cadence rhythm of your breathing in and out through the nose. And taking a look around on the inside of you, and just notice how you feel without changing anything or judging. Become the observer. Inviting in this peaceful infusion of your breath into your body, into this shape. We'll take about 3 more cycles of breath here. And I invite you to keep this quality of presence and breath throughout your practice. Remembering to take rests when you need and truly listen to your body. So from here, if your knees are open, you can gently take your hands to the outside of the thighs, closing the legs. And then whatever's more instinctual for you to come out of your shape, you can roll off to one side or maybe just roll yourself upright. And then you can clear your props away. If you have blocks, you can take them towards the top of your mat. Blanket you could just put off to the side. And then we'll meet back down with our knees in towards our chest. So interlacing the hands, relax the shoulders. You can rock from side to side or just be still. And then we'll take one palm on one kneecap, the other palm on the other kneecap with our fingers facing downwards away from us. And then we'll start to bring in some knee circles. So drawing the knees away from each other and then towards you and into the center. And then moving in that direction about 3 circles, moving nice and slow. And you can reverse your direction. Knees go outwards and then inwards. And then release. Plant your feet on the mat. We're going to come into a quad stretch. So you're going to lift your right foot and then take your right foot behind the left calf. So it's in between that bend of your left leg. Your left hand is going to grab onto your right foot and then allow the outer right thigh to come down to the mat. You'll know because you'll feel that sensation in your quad. So take a few breaths here, start to settle in. The more you draw your kneecap towards the center, the more sensation you'll feel. If you're not feeling anything and you want to add a little more, you can start to draw the left knee in towards the chest, flex the left foot, take your right hand to your left top of the shin. Remember to soften your shoulders and your jaw. And then releasing here, bring both feet flat on the mat to reset. And then we'll come to the other side. So lift your left foot, take your left foot behind that right calf there. Right hand grabs left foot, outer left thigh comes down to the mat. Maybe you take a few breaths here to settle into this shape. And then when and if you feel ready, you can maybe draw that kneecap towards the center. Maybe draw that right knee in with your right foot flexed, left hand to right shin. Maybe one side feels a little different than the other. And then let's release that. Draw both knees in towards you. Take your hands underneath the kneecaps and then just give yourself a gentle rock. Come all the way up, cross at your ankles. Take your hands forward and then we'll come into a tabletop position. So shimmy your way back. Fingers are spread nice and wide. Wrist creases are parallel to the top of the mat. Knees are hip width distance apart. So let's move through our cat-cow. So we'll inhale, tilt the pelvis, lift the gaze. Maybe you close your eyes. Exhale, we curl the tailbone, puff up the upper back. Warming up the spine. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, curl. Inhale, front extension. Exhale, curl and round. Inhale, come to neutral. You're going to tuck your toes underneath. And then we're going to slightly puff up the upper back. So you're pushing the floor away from you. And then draw your belly button towards the back of your spine. You're going to tuck the toes under. And then you're going to use the core and then let your knees hover here. If this is too much on your wrists, you can make fists with your hands just to take that pressure off. So we don't want to let our belly drop here and let our pelvis tilt. You want to draw the belly button in, keep that round in the upper back. Knees are hovering. Breathe here. It's a sure way to start to warm up and feel the heat in our body. Release the knees down. From here, we're going to extend the right leg out with your toes facing down. Try to keep the weight even in the hands and the legs. From here, you're going to externally rotate that right leg. So the inner edge of the right foot is parallel to the ground. So your right glute is turned on. You're going to bend your right knee, draw your right knee towards your right tricep. You're going to start to feel your obliques turn on and try to keep that heel lifted so the whole inner right leg is parallel to the floor as much as you can. Extend it back out, toes face down, back to where you started. Rotate that leg, bend your knee. Beautiful. Inhale, draw your right knee towards your right tricep. Keep lifting that leg here. And then exhale, draw it back. You're going to plant that right foot down. You're going to spiral on that left knee, so the left foot is going to come out to the side, and then your right foot is going to be planted on the ground. Open up for gate pose, so right arm's going to reach up, and then flip your palm down, reach your fingertips towards the top of the mat. Be sure to keep that shoulder out of the ear and keep the chest open so we're not collapsing inward. So it's just as if you have a wall behind you. Keep drawing your belly button towards the back of the spine and find this beautiful long line from the outer edge of your right foot all the way through to your fingertips, the side stretch. And then exhale, come back to tabletop. You're going to draw your knees, shins, and ankles together, tuck your toes under. And then sit your sit bone on your heels, give your wrists a bit of a break here. Come into this toe stretch. You can just stay with your palms on your lap, or you can interlace your hands behind you and start to open up in that chest and heart center. Maybe you slightly bare your throat here. And then exhale, release. Take your hands back forward to tabletop, knees back to hip width distance apart. This time we'll go to the other side. So we'll extend the left leg out behind, toes face down. Even weight here, draw your belly button in. And then externally rotate that left leg. So rotating from your glute, left inner edge of the foot is parallel to the bottom of the mat. From here, you're gonna bend the left knee, draw your left knee towards your left tricep. So try to keep that leg lifted so it's not collapsing. So your left inner leg is parallel to the ground. Exhale, extend it out, left toes face down. Inhale again, bend that left knee, open up. Left knee to your left tricep. Exhale, release back, and then plant that left foot down on the mat. Spiral onto that right knee so your right leg comes out to the right. And then push open here, push the floor away from you as you reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. And then from here, you can flip the palm, start to reach your fingertips towards the top of your mat. So soften those shoulders, belly button drawing in, so you gently draw the pelvis forward and find your body here in one line. Side stretch, breathing here. And exhale with care, come back to your tabletop, and then we'll come into down dog. So tuck your toes under, send your hips up and back, push through the palms. You can start to pedal out through the feet here. First down dog of this practice. Glide those shoulder blades down the back. Your sit bones reach up and back. Chest is reaching towards the tops of the thighs. Release any tension in your neck. And then as you start to find stillness here, find that length here in the back of the legs. Nice. And then from here, we're going to inhale, come all the way forward into a high plank. You might need to shift yourself here. From here, we're gonna exhale, shift slightly forward, bend at the elbows, elbows hug in, come down to your belly. Point your toes, take your hands behind you, interlace your hands, draw your knuckles towards your heels, squeeze the shoulders onto the back, point your toes, and then inhale, reach up here, head in line with the spine, open up in the heart center, making sure the tops of the feet stay grounded, pubic bone towards the mat. And then we'll release here. Take your hands down by your side and then push yourself through tabletop or plank. Send yourself back to down dog. Bend your knees, look between your hands, and then take as many steps or walk to the top of your mat, feet hip width distance. Inhale, halfway lift. Find that flat back. Exhale, fold. We'll do that again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down to rise. Come all the way up. Hands come up. Exhale, hands come through to heart center. Beautiful. And then inhale, arms are going to lift all the way up. Exhale, fold over the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step back to a high plank. Prepare here. On your inhale, shift slightly forward. Exhale, bend at the elbows, come down to your belly, point your toes. This time we'll come to 3 cobra breaths. So inhale, push into your palms, cobra pose. Exhale, lower. Once again, inhale, push into the palms, pubic bone reaches down, your heart reaches forward and up. Exhale, lower. And then one more time, inhale, making sure the elbows are hugging in, shoulders are out of the ears. Exhale, lower. Tuck your toes underneath. Inhale, push yourself through table or high plank. Exhale, back, down dog. From here, come onto the balls of the feet, bend your knees, and then make your way to the top of your mat. Feet hip width distance. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down with your feet to rise. Arms come all the way up. Exhale, hands come down through to heart center. And then hands come down by your side. From here, we're going to come into a standing quad stretch. So bring your weight into your left foot. You're going to bend your right knee behind you. Grab a hold of the outside of your right foot. Knees in line with each other. Maybe this is enough for you, or you take your left hand to a half prayer just to find that balance. Find something to focus on in front of you, something that's not moving. Maybe here you take both hands behind and grab a hold of that right foot. Start to open up in the chest. Release with control. We'll transition into tree pose. So start to open up with that right leg. Grab a hold of that right ankle, either coming to the top of the inner thigh or below the knee, or you simply rest your toes on the ground and have your heel rest on your ankle here. Knee opens up, hands come into your heart center. So find your spot for tree pose. Root down through that left foot. Grow nice and tall through the crown of the head. And then with control, draw your knee to center and then release. We'll come to the other side. So right foot is planted. Start to bend that left foot. Grab a hold of the outside of the left foot. Knees aligned. Maybe you take both hands, reach and open that chest. From here, we'll transition into that tree pose. So try not to let your left foot touch the ground. Grab a hold of that left ankle. Maybe you bring it up to the top of the inner thigh or below the knee, just not on the knee. So now we're inviting in that committed but not attached. And we're stable yet at ease. And then with control, draw your knee back to center, release. Big breath in, arms lift up. Exhale, fold over the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your palms, step back to a high plank. Breathe in to prepare. And then exhale, we'll come down to our bellies. Point your toes, inhale, cobra, or you can come to up dog. Exhale, shift your way back to downward dog. Come back to your breath here. From here, let's inhale our right leg to three-legged dog. Keep pushing through the palms. You can start to stack open that right leg. You can bend that top knee. Keep the shoulders level to the front of your mat. Square off the hips and then draw your knee towards your chest here. So remember that puff in the upper back. And then exhale, step your right foot through between the hands. You're going to release that left heel down, open up the left toes, preparing for warrior one. So from here, you're going to inhale, the arms are going to lift all the way up, thumbs back, pinkies forward. Hip bones are aiming towards the front of the mat. You want to keep that back leg active. Outer edge of the left foot is down. Bend in that right knee. Relax the shoulders. On your exhale, take your hands down. If you have blocks, it'd be great to use them here for your pyramid stretch. Start to lengthen through that right leg. And then you're drawing your right hip back in space, left hip's coming forward. Glide those shoulders down the back, ground down through that right big toe. From here, we'll bend through that right knee again. Take your blocks off to the side. Inhale, back up to warrior one. And then exhale, interlace your hands behind you. Open up through that chest. Exhale, humble warrior. So right shoulder to the inside of the right leg. Relax the neck. Notice if your hips want to wing out to the right. Draw your hips in the center midline. Inhale with care, release the arms, warrior one for a breath. And then exhale, plant your hands down, step your right foot back to a high plank, breathe in. On your exhale, bend at the elbows, either come down halfway to up dog or to your belly in cobra, just like we were doing. And then exhale back, down dog. Connect back to your breath here. Inhale, left leg's gonna reach up, three-legged dog. And then start to bend, open that left hip, shoulders stay level. On your exhale, you're going to come back through center and then shift your weight forward, knee towards your chest, puff up the upper back. Find that core, and then step your left foot through warrior one. Right heel comes down, right toes fan out. Keep the bend in the left knee, arms lift up. Outer edge of the right foot is down. Engage that back leg. And then on the exhale, come into a pyramid shape. So find blocks here if you have, and then start to lengthen through that left leg. So left hip is coming back in space, right hip forward. Staying close to your breath. Beautiful, and then we'll bend through that left knee again. Take your blocks back out of the way. Inhale, back up, warrior one for a breath. And then exhale, hands interlace behind you. Start to open up through that chest here, knuckles down towards your heels. And then exhale, humble warrior. So left shoulder towards the inside of the left knee, relax your neck. Bring those hips to the midline. Inhale, release with care, warrior one for a breath. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step yourself back to a high plank. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, bend at the elbows. Either come down halfway and lift yourself up to up dog or belly to cobra. As you exhale, belly button draws in and it takes you back to downward dog. From here, we'll inhale, come back to that high plank, and then we'll exhale down to our bellies. From here, we're gonna come into a bow preparation pose. So you're gonna take your arms down by your side here. Palms will flip up. You're gonna have your feet hip width distance apart. You're gonna bend at your knees, flex your feet. Now, from here, you're going to draw your pubic bone down towards the mat. Notice how that may start to lift your kneecaps a bit. Turn your glutes on here, and then start to reach from your heels towards the ceiling. So that might just move an inch, not even. I might not be able to see the movement, but I could certainly feel it. So I'm drawing my pubic bone down and I'm reaching through my heels. From here, maybe I'll start to squeeze my shoulder blades onto my back, lift my chest and shoulders, head stays in line with the spine. So try not to let your knees wing out to the sides. Keep your toes facing towards the back of the mat. So we're using the back body here, staying in alignment. And then we'll exhale, lower here. Take your hands by your chest, elbows stay in. Inhale, push yourself through table or a high plank, and then exhale back, down dog. We'll bend at the knees, look between the hands, and then come to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, arms lift all the way up. And then exhale, hands come through to heart center. Beautiful. From here, take your weight to your left foot. Take your right leg behind you. You can take the same variation we did earlier in practice. Maybe you try both hands here. Now from here, keep your knee and your heart in one line. Maybe you start to move like a pendulum. So you start to tilt forward. As you come forward, your knee draws back. And then come back upright. We're going to transition into that tree pose. Now you can do tree pose once again, or you can come into a half lotus. So if you want, you can draw your toes towards your left hip bone and start to open up that right thigh. that right hip. Now you can keep your left hand holding on to your left toes, or you can try releasing that, bring your hands into prayer. Wherever you are, finding your center here, breathing into it moment by moment. And then slowly release. You can bend that left knee a bit just to come back to center. So we'll come into the other side. So right foot stays grounded, bend that left foot. Maybe you take both hands behind. And then maybe you start to work that pendulum. So your knee is a solid line with your heart. So you start to tilt yourself forward here. Bring yourself upright. Transition into tree pose or half lotus. Take your left toes towards that right hip bone and start to draw that knee down. Use that glute, open it up. Maybe you take one hand to a half prayer, hang on to that left foot. Maybe you try releasing the foot. So as long as you're not feeling any pain, so you discern the difference between a challenge and what is pain. If it's pain, we back off. We've gone too far. We want to move in a way that feels right and good for our bodies. And then with control, you can bend that right knee to protect it, and then come back to a stand, Tadasana. Inhale, arms are going to lift up. Big breath in. Exhale, fold over the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step back to a high plank. And on your exhale here, we're going to bend the elbows, either come down halfway to up dog or belly to cobra. Heart reaches forward and up. Exhale back, downward dog. Inhale your right leg, three-legged dog. You can start to bend that knee, open up, stacking the hips here. You can stay here, or if you practice Wild Thing, you can start to flip your dog. So right foot's gonna come down, you can press into that right foot, extend the left leg out long, and then push your left hand into the ground, lift the hips up, arms gonna reach up and back, or you can take your hand to support that neck here. And then with care, we'll come back to downward dog. Oops. And then we'll take our right foot through between the hands, come into warrior one. Arms lift up, big breath in. From here, we're going to interlace the hands behind us. And then start to lengthen through that right leg, open up the chest, start to hinge forward. So we're back in that pyramid shape with our right hip back, left hip coming forward. This time our hands are interlaced, head in line with the spine. Reach your heart forward. Beautiful, and then release the hands here, bend in that right knee, arms are gonna lift up, warrior one. And then exhale, your hands come to the inside here of the right leg. You're gonna shimmy that left leg back, and then come onto the left knee here. Heel toe your right foot out to the side, right toes fan out. Your right knee can come out a bit here as well. We're gonna find that lizard shape. So maybe this is enough for you right here, or if you have blocks, you can take your forearms onto your blocks here. And then fold here. Maybe you can just take your forearms to the ground. And we'll be here for about 6 breaths. So we're keeping it dynamic, we're not just hanging out. Your right heel is drawing back in space, your left knee is drawing forward. Keep sliding those shoulders down the back here. Notice here if you're transferring any of your tension anywhere else in your body, maybe in your shoulders or your jaw. See here if you can use your breath to soften. And then if you're on your forearms, you can come back to your hands, take your blocks off to the side. And then from here, we're going to open up into a quad stretch. So you can take your left hand on the mat, right arm's going to reach up and around. You can ease off the hips here, bend that left knee, and then find that left foot. Maybe you need to prop your left hand up with a block. Find a little more space. And then maybe here you have space to hinge yourself a little forward. Gliding those shoulders down and away from the ears. Without slingshotting this left foot, gently release that down. We're going to come into a twist here. So left palm's going to stay grounded. You're going to draw that right knee in back towards the center. Right toes come back forward. Power up that back leg and then reach that right arm up towards the ceiling. From here, we transition into side plank. So come onto the outer edge of your left foot and then turn those right toes out to the side. Heel toe your right foot down. You can stay here about halfway, lifting your hips up. Maybe you can stack your right foot over the left, or you can take your left knee down to the ground for a modified plank. Reach your hips up. Keep those hips stacked so you're not rolling back. Keep them in line. And then on your exhale, look down, take your right hand down, find your high plank, breathe in to prepare. On your exhale, shift slightly forward, bend the elbows, come down either halfway to up dog or belly to cobra. Exhale back, down dog. Take about 5 breaths here. You can have down dog as your rest, or maybe you come into a child's pose. Maybe take a sip of water. If you're in child's pose, come back to down dog. Inhale your left leg, 3-legged dog. Bend that left knee, stack open the hips. You can stay here or come into wild thing. Nice and controlled, left foot will come down. And then start to push that right hand into the ground as you lift your hips up. Reach and extend. Maybe you take that left hand to support that neck here. And then with care and control, come back to your down dog. And then from here, we'll step our left foot through between the hands, warrior 1. Right heel comes down, inhale, arms lift up. Interlace your hands here. Start to lengthen that left leg. Open up the chest, knuckles towards the ground. And then start to hinge yourself forward. So left hip is drawing back. Keep your head in line with the spine. Slight micro bend in the left knee so we're not locking that left knee. One more cycle of breath here. Release your hands, bend that left knee. Inhale, warrior one. Now we're going to exhale our hands to the inside of the left leg. Going to shimmy that right leg back. You can place that right knee down, heel toe your left foot out to the side, left toes fan out. From here we'll find that lizard shape. So you can stay right here. Maybe you find the blocks again. Forearms. And then we'll take about 6 breaths here. Left heel is drawing back, right knee is drawing forward. Reach your heart forward as you glide those shoulders down and away. Find softness in your fingers, softness in your jaw. If you're on your forearms, you can come back to your hands, and then we'll start to move into that quad stretch. So just ease off your hips here. You can bend that right knee, right hand stays down as you lift the left arm up and around. Find the outside of that right foot. Maybe this is enough, or you can start to hinge your hips forward. You can always bring a block under your right hand. Glide those shoulders down and away. Now without slingshotting that right foot, gently release it down. We're going to come into that twist. So heel toe your left foot back, knee in line with the ankle, toes face forward. Tuck your right toes under, power up the back leg. Left arm reaches up and open for a twist. From here, you're going to come onto the outer edge of your right foot. Left toes come to the side. Heel toe your left foot down halfway. You can stay right here, or stack the left foot over the right. You can bring your right knee down for a modified side plank. And then lift the right side body as well. Find that length still, shoulders away from the ears. From here, with care, come back to your high plank. Prepare, breathe in. On your exhale, bend at the elbows, come down halfway or to your belly, flow it out. Exhale back, downward dog. Bend your knees, look between your hands, and then come to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, arms lift all the way up. Exhale, hands come through to heart center. We get to come to our peak pose, so dancer's pose, Natarajasana. So we're going to ground down through our left foot. I'll just face you to start. Right palm's gonna open up like as if you're holding a tray or like a teacup. You're gonna bend that right foot, that right knee. You're gonna grab the inside of the right foot. We're going to keep the chest nice and open. I like to start by bringing my left hand to a half prayer, just to find that center here. Now don't worry about what the shape is going to look like. It's going to look different for everybody. Just try to find that stability here. You're going to start to kick that foot into your hand. And then as you do that, you're going to start to hinge forward. So you're moving like that pendulum. Maybe you reach that left arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe your palm stays open. Maybe you want to flip the palm in. So find your expression of this pose. Committed yet not attached. And then when you're ready, slowly come out. Maybe give yourself a little bit of a shake. And then we'll come to the other side. So ground down through your right foot. Take your left hand out as if you're holding a tray. Bend that left knee. Grab a hold of the inside of the left foot. Maybe your right hand comes into that half prayer to start. Start to kick your foot into your hand. And then maybe you grow your right arm. Move like a pendulum. And then with control, we come out of that shape. Let that go. Inhale, arms are gonna lift up, big breath in. Exhale, fold over the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your palms, step back, just shift yourself back to a down dog. Inhale, come forward to a high plank. On your exhale, just come down nice and slow to your belly. Since we're nice and open here, we can come into bow pose here. So forehead is down to the mat. Take your hands down by your side. Legs are hip width distance apart. Bend your knees. Now you're going to start to reach your hands. You can grab the outside of your feet. Maybe you want to grab your ankles instead and flex the feet. Whichever way you prefer. Now we're going to kick our legs into our hands one more time. Take those shoulders onto your back. Try not to let your knees wing out to the sides. Keep them in line with your hip bones. And your head is in line with your spine. Doesn't matter what the shape looks like, as long as it feels good for you. And then let's release that. Take your hands by your chest. Just push yourself up and back to a closed-legged child's pose. Rest your sit bones on your heels. Take your hands down by your side. Chest and forehead melt down. Relax your shoulders. And then we'll take our hands down onto the mat, lift ourselves up, and then we'll come onto our sit bones, take your feet forward, leave enough space here to lie back. Let's keep the knees bent here. Rolling down. Now we'll come into shoulder stand here. If shoulder stand is not in your practice, you can take a block if you have one, or a bolster, or a blanket folded up so it's nice and thick, and you can lift your hips up, take your prop under your sacrum, so not on your lower back, but more so on that bony part just above your glutes, and then let your legs rise towards the ceiling. If you don't have a prop, you can just bring your legs up towards the ceiling, just like that, and then just play with the center of gravity. Shoulder stand, be very mindful not to look left and right, so we don't want to hurt ourselves here. You're going to lift your legs up towards the ceiling, grab a hold of your low back. Keep your low back supported, making sure there is still an easy pathway for your breath to travel through your throat. So if you can talk, then you know you're good. Once you get used to being upside down, draw your knees towards your forehead and then shimmy your elbows in a little bit closer together. Maybe you walk your hands down the back and then reach your legs back up towards the ceiling. Bring more of your weight into your elbows. So you can stay right here, or maybe with control, you start to draw the legs to plow behind you Let your toes touch the ground. If they don't touch the ground, then do not let go of your lower back. If your toes are touching the ground, maybe then you can interlace your hands behind you, walk the shoulders in a little bit closer together. Try to lengthen the legs here. Be super mindful in this pose. Don't want to feel any pain. And some days my toes touch the ground and some days they don't. So every day is different. If your hands are interlaced, you can take them back to your low back to support. And then wherever you are, if you're in waterfall or if you're in shoulder stand, we'll slowly come out of this shape. And we will come into bridge pose. So plant your feet down onto the mat. Draw your heels close to your glutes. So if you were to take your fingers, you can graze your heels. Feet are hip width distance apart. Toes are facing forward. Press your feet into the mat. Lift the hips up. So being mindful of your legs so your knees aren't opening out to the sides. Imagine you're squeezing a gentle beach ball. You can interlace the hands here again, walk the shoulders in. You'll feel a different sensation in the throat here. Release the shoulders, release the hands. Mindfully roll yourself vertebra by vertebra. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a gentle squeeze, a gentle hug. Feeling that compression in your hip flexors as you use your biceps to draw your knees in. Bring your feet back on the mat. I'm going to come into a bit of a quad or a glute stretch. So cross your right ankle over the left. Keep your right foot flexed. Let your right ankle clear your left thigh a bit. Maybe this is enough for you to take your right hand and gently push that right thigh away from you. Or you can thread. So right hand comes through the middle, interlace your hands behind the back of the left thigh. And draw that left thigh towards you. Maybe you use your right elbow to draw that right knee and thigh away from you. We'll unwind, reset with your feet on the mat, and then we'll come to the other side. Left ankle clears that right thigh, left foot is flexed. Left hand to the left thigh, push away, or thread. Interlace the hands behind the back of the right thigh. Relax your shoulders. Keep the back of the neck lengthened here. If you find that your shoulders are lifted and your chin is way up high, that means you could use a strap here to find more length. Hold on to a strap and wrap it behind the back of the right thigh, or you just need to ease off and come back to that first setting. Let's release that. We'll come into a twist. So we'll bring our arms out into a T with our palms facing up. You can cross your right leg over the left. Shimmy your hips over to the right, knees over to the left. Gaze can come over to the right. Now if it's too much with the cross of the legs, you can just uncross the legs here. Use your core to lift you back to center. Uncross, and then cross your left leg over the right, hips over to the left, knees over to the right, and then maybe gaze over to the left. Draw yourself back to center, uncross. We'll come into a happy baby before our Shavasana. So draw our knees in towards the armpits and then elbows to the inside. Grab the outer edges of the feet here or the ankles or shins as if you're squatting against the ceiling here. Ankles in line with the knees. You can sway or be still. Make this your own. And if there's anything else that you would like to do to complete your yoga practice, feel free to do that now. Otherwise, we will come into Shavasana. So extending the legs out long. If you have 2 blocks, you can take the 2 blocks underneath the backs of your thighs, your upper thighs here, which is a nice release for the low back. Just an option. And a gentle shimmy of the shoulder blades together to keep the chest nice and open. So take the time to find what's comfortable for you here. And then just take one big breath in through your nose. Let it go through your mouth. Closing the eyes. Because there is nothing left for you to do but to receive your practice. So our whole body here is resting on the ground, trusting in the support of the ground beneath you, so letting your weight go. And here we allow the energy within us to organize itself into balance and harmony and coherence. Feel the buzzing and the sensations throughout your body. Your prana, your life force, your energy. As you receive in this ultimate state of receivership. Noticing what it feels like to be at home in the center of your own being. And know that you always, always have access to this. Begin to deepen your breath. And let your breath gently stretch you from the inside out. And start to invite some movement back. Wiggling your fingers, toes, wrists, and ankles. Bringing your arms up overhead, reaching to opposite ends of the room. Gently stirring your body into wakefulness. You can draw your knees in towards you for a good hug. Then rolling off to one side, pausing in that fetal shape for a moment. Notice how this shape feels to you. And then, as always, tuning into the energy of gratitude for our bodies and for our practice. And of course, for our bodies for allowing us to have this practice. We can use our top hand to help bring us up to a seated position. And then let's come into any seat that's comfortable for you. We'll find a tall spine with our palms touching right in heart center. So lift through your upper and mid back. Soften the shoulders, slight bow of the chin. Take a moment here with yourself and your breath. We're noticing how you feel after practice, making it all the way through to the end. I invite you to take this feeling with you into the rest of your day, into your evening, into your night, into the next day. Spread it to all those around you. And so the yoga continues off the mat. And I invite you to keep this stillness with you. So the next time maybe you're in line somewhere and someone cuts you off, find that stillness, that peace within you, and send them love. Thank you for your trust. From my heart to yours, namaste.